Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the first major update for Call of Duty Modern Warfare. This update added the game mode Hardpoint to the game, along with the 6v6 multiplayer map Shoothouse and the ground war map Krovnik Farmland. Throughout this video, you'll be seeing footage of the new maps, but keep in mind, they just came out, so therefore I haven't been able to play on them all that much, therefore the gameplay isn't going to be all that great, but so far, I enjoy both of the maps, and I would love to hear what you guys think about them down in the comment section below. Keep in mind, unlike in previous years, these maps are free and they're out for everybody on every single platform at the exact same time. So if you're seeing this video, these maps are live regardless of your platform. You can hop on and play them, which is definitely some pretty good news. In addition to that, this update also rebalanced a ton of different aspects of the game's multiplayer, and we're going to be covering all of those changes here in today's video. Let's kick things off here by discussing some of the biggest complaints that have been coming from the community. The 725 shotgun is often referred to as a sniper rifle as compared to a shotgun because of how good it is at range. Well, today, finally, Infinity Ward decided to nerf it. What they did is they nerfed its damage range, and they also increased its aim down sight and its hipfire pellet spread, which means it's going to be harder to hit targets at longer ranges with all of your pellets, which in theory is going to reduce the amount of one-shots that it gets, which would definitely be a good change in my opinion, because as somebody who plays a lot of Search and Destroy, and even in respawn modes, people are starting to use that gun even more. That gun was ridiculous. I'm sure you've seen the clips, I'm sure you've seen the tweets. That shotgun was literally a sniper rifle in some cases, but after today's update, it's a little bit worse than it was before. In addition to that, they also nerfed Claymores. What they decided to do is they made a really interesting change. So what you can do now is if you see an enemy Claymore and you shoot at it to destroy it and it blows up and hurts you, if you're at full health when you do that, it will not kill you. You can run into it and it'll blow up and kill you, but if you shoot it and it blows up and hurts you, so long as you're at full health, it will not kill you. And also, they decreased its trigger radius, its damage radius, as well as the damage width, so hopefully Claymores won't be mini nukes like they were previously. Hopefully people stop running them as much and the game gets better as a result, but I suppose we're going to have to wait and see how the community reacts to the nerfs to the Claymore piece of equipment. In addition to this, we also saw a number of weapons get rebalanced, so let's go ahead and discuss that next. The M4A1 assault rifle is often considered to be the best gun in this game. You see it all the freaking time, right? Well, what they did is they nerfed the damage range on the M4, and they also gave it slightly more recoil. On top of that, they also took every assault rifle in the game and reduced its hipfire effectiveness up close. And the reason why I think they're doing this is because right now, or at least before this update, the meta game of Modern Warfare was really all about assault rifles, right? Submachine guns were not really all that good. It was all about using snipers, assault rifles, and maybe LMGs and occasionally shotguns, right? So by reducing the hipfire effectiveness of every assault rifle in the game, that's going to make submachine guns a bit more viable, and they also decided to decrease the damage range on all full auto 5.56 rifles. So like the M4, for example, I think, does the Kilo use 5.56? I can't quite remember, but every rifle in the game that uses 5.56 ammunition, when it's full auto, it's going to have less damage range than it did previously. Now, speaking of making submachine guns better, today's update increased the movement speed of every submachine gun in the game. It also increased their aim down sight movement speed, and it reduced the sprint out time. And I can say, you guys are watching the gameplay here, I'm just running around with the MP5, I feel so much faster, the handling is so much better, just in general, I love this change to submachine guns. It definitely feels really good. Of course, attachments are going to decrease those buffs. If you have too many attachments reducing your movement speed or things like that, it's going to basically tone that down, but just in general, submachine guns feel so much better after this update, and I'm definitely a very big fan of that. You guys know how with Dead Silence, once you equip that, you start moving slightly faster? I think most people know that. Not only does it make you quieter, but it also makes you move slightly faster. Well, it kind of feels like that all the time now with submachine guns, which is definitely pretty nice. I can't wait to play more with this. I love the MP5, I love the P90 and the other SMGs, and I'm hoping that rushing becomes more of a viable playstyle now that submachine guns were made a whole lot better. In addition to the speed buffs, the Uzi submachine gun gun received an increase to its damage range, but as for the rest of the SMGs, they were not buffed in any way. No damage increase, no fire rate increase, range, or anything like that. The Uzi was buffed in terms of its damage range, but every submachine gun now has faster movement speed while aiming down sights, and reduced sprint out time. So once again, definitely a pretty awesome change there. Moving along here, a few LMGs received a nerf with today's update. The PKM now has less damage at medium ranges, and it has a wider hipfire spread. The M91 received a small nerf to its damage range, and also now has wider hipfire spread, and the MG34, once again, has wider hipfire spread and less damage range than it did before. When it comes to pistols, all of them received a movement speed increase. They received reduced sprint out time and increased damage range, which is definitely some pretty good news. So perhaps now we'll see less people overkilling shotguns now that pistols are a little bit better. But knowing the Call of Duty community, it's going to take a while before people really start adjusting their classes and for the metagame to actually shift. But the 725 got nerfed, all pistols got buffed, and so now hopefully we'll see less of that M4 725 spam than we did previously. That pretty much does it for the weapon balance updates, but we still have a lot more to cover here in today's video. The next big change is the one that they made to battle chatter. So battle chatter, as you guys know, is that annoying feature where your character will yell out every time they do anything, every time they see an enemy, every time they put down a Claymore. They always have to yell, and enemies can hear that, right? They hear you, it gives away your position, and you end up dying as a result. Well, after today's update, they removed the ability for enemies to hear when they're being called out by the other team. They also made it so enemy callouts are never made by your character, but you're still going to be able to hear them, which is kind of confusing, but in general, you're going to be yelling a lot less whenever you see enemy players, and when you do actually see an enemy player and your player calls it out, they're not going to be able to hear that, so it's not going to give away your position, which is definitely some pretty good news. Infinity Ward also said that they will continue to monitor battle chatter and make more updates to it in the future, so for right now, I would love to hear what you guys think about these changes down in the comment section below. Again, I wasn't able to play a whole lot this afternoon, so therefore I wasn't able to really properly test it out or anything, so again, leave your thoughts and feedback down in the comments. But moving along here, they fixed the glitch, which would allow the riot shield to not have a proper animation. Like, have you guys seen this? What would happen is people would use a riot shield, and they would use a throwing knife, or they would use a thermite grenade, and it would never actually show them putting the shield on their back when they used their equipment. They would essentially always be behind their shield, which was super annoying to play against. As somebody who plays a lot of Search and Destroy, facing players like that was always super frustrating because there was really nothing you could do. Their shield never moves, yet they're also able to throw their knives and their thermite grenades. Well, it turns out after today's update, they fixed that, and now their shield is going to move when they use their equipment, which will allow you to actually shoot them. In addition to this, they also added a small amount of recoil to all weapons while in mounted mode, which I think is a pretty cool update. They made it so the EOD perk is stronger than it was before, although I must say I did see a clip on Twitter from Thunder of him just walking into a Claymore and EOD did not save his life whatsoever, so I'm not sure how well that update went through, but apparently they're claiming EOD is now better than it was before, and most importantly, they made footsteps quieter than what they were previously. In the patch notes, they claim that it's now going to be much harder to hear enemies if they're further away, especially if there's geometry between you and that player, and what geometry means is bushes, buildings, walls, anything like that. Like, the further away they are, it's going to be way harder to hear them now, according to the patch notes. We'll see how it actually plays out, but yeah, that definitely sounds like a pretty good update. And they also said in the future, with the next update, they're going to further change footsteps and make it so you're super quiet while crouching and while moving while aiming down sights. To be honest, I wish that was part of today's update, right? Again, I keep going back to it, but as somebody who plays a lot of Search and Destroy, if you're the last one alive on your team, you're pretty much screwed, right? They go plant A, they have 2 people alive, you're on the other side of the map defending B, now you have to just run all the way over there, you're loud as an elephant, they're sitting in corners or in windows defending the bomb, and unless you have dead silence available, there's really nothing you can do to make yourself quieter. You're basically just running down the street yelling that you're on your way because your footsteps are so freaking loud. Back in Call of Duty 4, which was my first game, crouch walking and walking while aiming down sights made you almost as quiet as if you had dead silence on, but for some reason, that wasn't a core feature here in Modern Warfare, but apparently, it's going to be a feature when the next update goes live, which is definitely some pretty good news. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That pretty much does it for today's update. There was definitely a lot to go over, and I didn't cover everything. Like, I'll put the full patch notes down in the description. There's a bunch of smaller rebalances and bug fixes and things like that they did. Like, for example, they made it so shooting down air support actually levels up your launchers, whereas it didn't do that previously. And they also tried to make it so players are a bit more visible in darker areas, and they also tried to fix countless glitches, but there's still a bunch more of them. Like, for example, my mission challenge continues to reset after every single game, therefore I can't make any progress on those, which is pretty frustrating. And my weapon levels, I'll say that they're at level 1, which is also pretty frustrating because I don't know how close I am to the next level, and I also don't know what I have to do to unlock certain kinds of camos. So there's definitely still a bunch of bugs in this game, but they did fix a number of them, and if you would like to read all the bug fixes, I'll put a link to the full patch notes down in the description. I must say, if Infinity Ward can continue to push updates like this, along with free content like we saw today, I think Modern Warfare could turn around pretty quickly. Right now, the game is very controversial. A large portion of the community are just not enjoying this game. A lot of people are bashing this game, and it's good to know that Infinity Ward is listening. It's good to know that they're willing to make changes, and it's also nice to know that they're not going to wait 8 months to make these changes like we saw with Call of Duty World War II. Keep in mind, and I did talk about this in my previous video, but keep in mind, leaks are suggesting that a big revamp will be coming later this month, and also part of that is they're going to take the mini-map and make it like it was back in the old days, so that would be pretty awesome. I'm still holding out hope that Dead Silence will become a perk too. I feel like if the minimap goes back to normal and Dead Silence becomes a perk too, where you have to choose between that and Ghost and Hardline and Kill Chain and things like that, I feel as though the game would be a lot more balanced. And then you look at these submachine gun buffs that we got today, I really feel like rushing would be a lot more viable with that normal minimap, Dead Silence as a perk, as well as the movement speed increases that SMG's got. But all in good time, I suppose, ladies and gentlemen. Every Call of Duty is a work in progress, but it's nice to see that Infinity Ward is actually listening and they're trying to adjust their game based on community feedback. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for you guys here today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please drop me a rating. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.